I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America.
I've known rivers. I've known rivers as ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo and that lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and I raised pyramids above it. I heard the singing down at the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans. And I've seen its muddy bosom turn gold over the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers.
Well, children, with so much racket, there must be something out of kilter. I think that twixt the Negroes of the South and the women at the North, all talking about rights, the white men will be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this here talking about? That man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and given the best of every place. Nobody ever helped me into carriages or over mud puddles or give me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as hard and eat as much as a man when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus could hear me. And ain't I a woman? Then that little man in black over there, he says, women can't have as much right as men because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with him. If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now they is asking to do it. The men better let them. Obliged to you for hearing me. Now, old Sojourner ain't got nothing else to say.
One morning while in the woods, I stumbled upon the thing. I stumbled upon it in a grassy clearing guarded by scaly oaks and elms. And the sooty details of the scene rose, thrusting in themselves between the world and me. And a design of white bones laid slumbering forgottenly upon a cushion of ashes. There was a charred stump of sapling pointing a finger accusingly at the sky. There were torn tree limbs and tiny veins of burnt leaves and a scorched coil of greasy hemp. A vacant shoe, an empty tie, a ripped shirt, a lonely hat, a pair of trousers stiff from black blood. And the trampled grass was covered with buttons, dead matches, burnt ends of cigars and cigarettes, peanut shells, a dry gin flask, and a whore's lipstick. Scattered traces of tar, a restless array of feathers, and the lingering smell of gasoline. And through the morning air, the sun poured a yellow surprise through the eye sockets of the stony skull. And while I stood, my mind was frozen, and with cold pity of the life that was gone, the ground gripped my feet, and my heart was circled in icy layers of fear. The sun died in the sky, and the night wind muttered through the grass and fumbled the leaves of the trees. The woods poured from the hungry yelping of hounds. The darkness screamed with the thirsty voices, and the witnesses rose and lived. The dry bones stirred, rattled, lifted, melting themselves into my bones. And the gray ash formed and filled flesh and black and entering into my flesh. The gin flask passed from mouth to mouth. Cigars and cigarettes glowed. The whore smeared red lipstick upon her lips. And thousands swirled around me, clamoring that my life be burned. And then they had me, stripped me, battering my teeth into my throat until I swallowed my own blood. My voice was drowned in the roar of their voices, and my black, wet body slipped and filled their hands like sapling. My skin clung to the hot, bubbling tar, and limp patches of my skin fell off. And the downs and quills of the white feathers leaped and soaked into my flesh, and I moaned in agony. And my blood was cooled, mercifully cooled by the baptism of gasoline. And in a blaze of red, I leaped into the sky, and pain rose like water, boiling my limbs. Panting, begging, I clutched, childlike, I clutched to the sides of hot death. Now I am dry bones, and my face a stony skull, staring in the yellow surprise at the sun. And I am nobody. The red, sinking autumn sun stole my name away.
Hail, happy day, when smiling like the morn, fair freedom rose, New England to adorn. The northern clime beneath her genial ray, Dartmouth congratulates thy blissful sway. Elate with hope that her race no longer mourns, each soul expands, each bosom burns. And while in thine hands, with pleasure, we behold the silken reins and freedom's charms unfold. Yes. And long lost to realms beneath the northern sky, she shines supreme, while hated faction dies. As soon as appeared the goddess long desired, sick at the view, she languished and expired. Thus, after the splendor of the morning light, the owl in sadness seeks the caves of night. No more, America, in mournful strain of wrongs, of grievance, unredressed complain. No longer shalt thou dread the iron chain, which wanton tyranny with lawless hand had made, and with it meant to enslave the land. Now should you, my lord, while you peruse my song, wonder from whence my love of freedom sprung, whence flow these wishes for the common good, through feeling hearts alone best understood. I, young in life, by seeming cruel fate, was snatched from Africa's fancied happy seat. What pangs excruciating must molest, what sorrows labor my parents' breast. Steeled was that soul, and by no mercy moved that from a father, seized his babe beloved. Such was my case. And then can I not but pray that others never feel tyrannic sway? For favors past, great sir, our thanks are due.
And thee we ask thy favors to renew, since in thine power, as in thine will before, to soothe the griefs that you did once deplore. May heavenly grace the sacred sanction give all thy works, and may thou live not just on the wings of fleeting fame, though praise immortal crowns the patriot's name, but in heaven's refulgent fame. May fiery coursers sweep the ethereal plain and bear you up to that blessed abode, where, like the prophet, you will find thy God.
She bears them both beneath her, steadily carving them from mud, rib to rib, like Adam to Eve. She grows them like fruit trees, like the kola nut, bitter to those who came to Columbus it, but as sacred as Yoruba cities to its people. Ife, Ibadan, Lagos, Oshogbo, like art, like Asada Shakur, Wole Soyinka, Angela Davis, Kathleen Cleaver. She raises them with revolutionary blood, stirs them with her history. She carries them for the first time. She has to bear them, even with one heartbeat. She carved away at her memory, listing the ways she made mistakes, beating herself like a drum, like the ritualistic sending home of the king's horsemen. She carves out meaning on her wrists. She cries, the taste of the kola nut on her tongue. Like Jove's tree, she's cut down and now prays inside herself. They were to be coupled and inseparable. How can she mourn one part of her while planning an excitement for the next? What kind of closure can you get while carrying the dead next to your child? What kind of hope can I give her? I've run out of anecdotes and prayers and all for reasons. This is the unsung secret of parenthood they don't tell you about. They hide it away like filthy sheets, so when we step up to the crossroads, we're left a mere shell of our being. We weep and cackle. We are apish and demure. We are two sides of a trick coin, but everyone bets on tails. She has to carry them for a few more weeks, till we pull them apart like loose leaf paper, set it ablaze with her anger and pain, her sorrow and solemnness. We blow the ashes into the wind, so they may tell her story, so others can know, so they won't have to bear them.